let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
We are back with another rendition of Best of the House. It's been a little while. I think the last one we did was for the House of Zaharoff.
Such a fun video.
Yeah,
though.
a lot of fun. And it's been a fun series. We see that you guys have really enjoyed it over the past year or two that we've been doing it. We've done several houses. If you want to see all of them, if you've missed them, there's a whole playlist. You can check them out. And I had a couple houses in mind to do, but one that I wanted to hone in on was the House of Roja Parfums. Now, we've done a Best of the House on Roja already. That was over a year ago. I don't know exactly when, but back in 2021. And Roja has been generous enough, not only now, but then as well, sending a lot of fragrances our way. We've gotten a new crop of fragrances since that video. I figured let's rate these in the same way that we did those. It'll be a lot of fun. These are first impressions. They'll be on paper. They're first sprays. It's not ideal. We are not going to spray them all over ourselves because that is impractical, but that would be the most ideal to smell them on skin, but we're not doing it. So you just have to deal with that. Grace is going to smell them blindly. She's going to rate them from 0 to 10, and we'll come out with maybe at least one favorite. These are expensive fragrances. Once again, they're sent to us for free. They're expensive. You don't have to go out and buy them, but if anything we say in this video sounds interesting, maybe get a sample. We'll have links to what we can find down in the description. So let's do it. All right, so Grace is going to turn away. She's already turning away.
She is a professional.
Here is our first fragrance. You guys are going to see it on screen, of course. I'll show you the B-roll if there is any. Here's the first one.
Interesting. Right off the top, there's definitely some freshness. Turns very dark very quickly. Almost like an animalic
Totally.
vibe.
There's a bit of an edge to it. It's quite a juxtaposition. Brightness.
Even some
the
florals,
darkness.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure
in the
there's
heart.
florals in the
he
heart.
He always throws a lot of florals.
Yeah.
His fragrances are always multi-layered and
Very complex.
it's intense on paper. I think I'd really enjoy it on skin.
And these are all going to be pretty intense just because we're smelling them first spray, putting them up the nostrils.
Right up to the nose.
So not great, but we're doing what we can. But from what you're getting, overall vibe, how would you rate it?
Yeah, I like it. I think I'm going to give it a 7 on paper.
That's higher than I expected.
Really?
Yeah. So the first one
Off
up
to a
here.
great start.
Yeah, it's a solid start. The first one up here is one you don't see a lot of talk about. This is called Goodman's.
Oh.
And this was an exclusive he made for Bergdorf Goodman. I don't know all the notes, there's a lot of them, but lots of citruses that are kind of juicy and bright. Floral heart, I think. A bit of an animalic edge, maybe in the base, maybe like castoreum or civet. A professional, fresh, mature fragrance with some depth to it. Not everyone's gonna like it, but it's a little something special and a little something different, I would say. That's our first one. That is Goodman's. Turn around. All right, guys, the next one. Alrighty, you can turn around. Gonna air this one out a little bit more than normal because it might be a bit up close.
I can smell it.
I know, it's already wafting. These are strong fragrances.
Very strong. Bright green like citrus at the top. Definitely some very pungent floral notes.
Yes, florals are a big part of the identity of this one.
He does such a great job of blending things. It's really hard to pick out individual notes.
Yeah.
Everything comes as a personality.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. How do you feel about it?
I think I like it. It's maybe not my favorite on paper. We're going to say just a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, better than I was expecting. I'm pretty sure I've had you smell this before in some capacity. I may have even wore it. I'm not sure. I just remember thinking like, I don't think she's crazy about it, but that's still better than I expected. This is, again, one that you don't see a lot of talk about. This is called a Midsummer Dream.
I was wondering if it was this one.
Yeah, and this is a really special fragrance. It's very unique. I've not smelled anything like this. It's kind of a floral sheep where it is based on a lot of oak moss and woods and maybe some warmth in there, some kind of warm ambery feel that's overshadowed by rose. There's some resins like LME resin or something, which gives it a bit of a balsamic feel, but still on the fresher side of things, and probably some citrus at the top as well that kind of pops when you first spray it. So special scent, very unique. May not be for everyone because of how unique it is, but really special. So definitely worth sampling. That is a Midsummer Dream, 6 out of 10. Moving on, you can turn around. This one is also powerful at first spray. You can probably already smell it.
Yep. Well, I love this one.
Muy bien.
I'm not as familiar with these as well, so it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This is almost like a creamy green, bright citrus. Like it's spicy and warm, but on the bright side of spicy. Maybe a little herbal in a way. I really like this. It's really nice. I'm gonna give it an 8.
That's about what I was expecting. Actually got one right. Do you have any idea what it is?
Let me smell it again. I don't think I know what it is.
Okay. Apex.
Oh, really?
This is the eau de parfum of Apex. And you described it well. Very green. It's kind of deep and rich in a way. It's mossy. It's leathery as well.
None of the darkness comes out on the paper.
At least not at first.
Yeah.
As the citruses fade, you get rum in there. You get some kind of warm, sweet balsams. Again, leather, maybe even some animalic
It
feel
definitely
as
has
well.
some, it's got a lot more punch on the skin, I would say.
And this one changes quite a bit as it sits. It transforms in a really, really nice way. Starts out kind of old school smelling, reminiscent of something like Polo Green, the original Polo for men, but way more complex. And it turns into something a little bit more approachable and maybe even alluring, but still a bit mature, I would say. So that's 8 out of 10. That's our leader so far. Turn around. The next one. All right, you can turn around.
Is this the Apex, the strong one?
Is that what it smells like?
Yeah.
Yes.
It smells exactly the same,
Yes.
except deeper.
So this is the Parfum. Yeah, so I'm curious to know, even on paper, up close, first spray, how would you delineate the differences between these, if any?
I think that on paper, the
Eau de Parfum?
eau de parfum has more depth initially.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Because it's brighter, it has a more robust top in relation to the base, so it presents as having more dimension. I would totally agree. This is not as fresh, so it comes off heavier, which is less
You kind of like
dimension.
sink into
Yes.
the darker
Totally.
notes quicker.
Yeah.
And the brightness fades away faster. I also feel like the spiciness is a lot punchier on paper.
Okay.
The other one really was very fresh and green. But I've smelled Apex, the original, on skin a
Yeah.
couple of times.
Yeah.
When I think of it with the base, because that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Because it does have a lot more.
How do you rate
of
the
animalic.
Parfum?
8.
Basically the
I was
same.
like, I feel like
yeah,
it's kind of
if-
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like it the same amount, then it's the same rating. I feel the same way. I feel like the differences are very minimal. You can tell that the Parfum is a little bit more rounded, a little bit more dense and heavy, less bright. Therefore, it might stick on the skin longer. It might leave a more noticeable trail. But ultimately, they're not very different. There's subtle nuances. And if I had to recommend one, I would recommend the original because it is a little cheaper. You get a larger size if you're looking for that for less money. And I think it's a little bit more versatile because of its freshness and its depth. The Parfum is a little bit more specialized. I actually prefer the Parfum a little bit more. But if I had to recommend one, I would recommend the EDP. They're leading the pack, Apex. Let's see if we can beat it. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, we got to reset it. Go for it.
Whoa.
Yes, this one can be a bit
This is very smoky,
smoky. Okay.
leather,
Hmm.
like it's in a very pungent way. I like it though.
So it's not coming off as too
No.
much. Okay.
It's actually warming up really quickly. Is it leather or
I don't think there's actual
Tobacco?
leather. There is oud,
oud? Okay.
which can be
The
smoky. Yeah,
dark.
a lot of oud.
I actually really like this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
All
I
right.
would love to experience it on skin. I can't remember if
Okay.
I've really smelled it that much.
I've worn it around you at least once or twice, and you've enjoyed it. Sultanate of Oman. I never know how to say that name. Sultanate. It's like the Sultan of Oman. The best way I could describe it, it's kind of like a fresher oud rose. This whole collection is called the Gulf Collection, and all of them are based on oud in some way. This one, it is oud and rose, but there's a freshness to it. There's almost this citrusy brightness, but it is mostly heavy, dark, woody, smoky oud. A little bit of sweetness. There's some raspberry in there, adding some more dimension. There's a lot going on in this fragrance, but it's very different for an oud scent and very luxurious, but also something that can be worn as a daytime heavy oud rose. Even professionally, I feel like this would work really nicely. 7.5, good stuff. Let's keep it going. Caps are sharp on the edges. Poke my finger. Here we go.
This smells like Sweetie Oud.
Okay, how do you feel about that?
This might actually be Manhattan. I don't know, I like it. I think it's Manhattan.
I want you to rate it first.
I'm really struggling with how to describe any of these at this moment.
That's okay.
But I like this one. I think it smells great. 8.5.
8.5. Ooh, that's the best one so far. I don't think I expected that. This is Manhattan. This is the Manhattan Eau de Parfum. They released this as a new version or updated version to what was a Parfum that came out as a limited edition. We did an unboxing video of this fragrance. You can check it out there if you want to learn more about deeper aspects of the scent. We won't go into it now. So if you want to learn more about the scent, watch that video. But 8.5, that may have even been higher than what you rated it in the video. She has been wearing it lately, which is a different experience. For sure. As you guys already know, let's keep it going. This is a lot of Roja. This is a lot of heavy stuff to smell. I will say that Manhattan is probably one of the softer ones out of everything we've smelled. So it was a nice break on the nose, but this is getting heavy again, for sure.
I'm like worried I'm gonna go nose
blind. Maybe you can start wafting to you if you're feeling like things are fading here. The brain is like,
enough.
It's so strong, it's like evasive.
Yes, and that could be a combination of just how Roja composes his scents, but also
really
the nose doing what it does.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not picking up everything.
Yeah.
Some things aren't quite getting through.
It's kind of sweet and dark at the same time.
Yep.
I think there is something kind of animalic in the base, or maybe just like rich. I'll give it a 7.5.
Great. Okay. This is also from the Gulf collection. This one is called Qatar. This is also an oud rose, as I said, all these fragrances are. But there's like a cotton candy accord in this one that really kind of defines its identity. It's very sweet to me in a candy way, but it also doesn't smell overtly edible because of this kind of dark richness in the base, especially from oud, but done very smoothly here. A sweet, slightly playful oud rose fragrance, but still a little bit dark. And it's powerful. It is powerful. Your nose is being shocked right now. We're gonna have to give you a break for a little bit for the rest of the day after this one. But that's 7.5 for Qatar. We got a couple more. This one's also quite powerful. So maybe see if you can waft it to yourself and just, I know you're gonna want to feel like,
I want to get close,
but just waft it and see what you can get first, and then assess that, and then if you want to get closer after that, that's fine.
I think this is Sweetie Oud.
Okay.
Which I really enjoy. If it is, it smells, it's like a warm pastry shop. I really like this. I'm gonna give it an 8.
I like this one a lot. It's not Sweetie Oud. This one is called United Arab Emirates. So this one is one of probably my favorite of the 3 that we have from the Gulf collection. Also oud rose. It's hard for me to describe it outside of, the oud is pretty forward here. It's actually a little bit funky. There's a slightly medicinal funk to it, almost stinky in a way, but it's done very elegantly with this sweet jammy rose. Something kind of wispy floating around in the middle of it, keeping it from being too thick and rich. Almost the illusion of freshness, but almost like incense in a way that I get. I don't know if there's incense in here, but this is a lovely scent. This one I wore in our fall vlog.
I think I gave it like a 9 or 9.5.
You really liked it. You really,
even.
It was like, you're like, this is the best of the video so far.
Yeah, I remember saying it was like one of my favorite fragrances we've gotten this year.
It's very, very, very good. And also very expensive. So sample first if you're interested. Second to last.
Maybe Sweetie Oud was in the other video, was it?
You're not gonna tell me.
I'm not gonna tell you.
I would waft this one as well. At least to start. The sun's coming out over here. It's starting to move.
My nose is just dying.
Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I
feel bad because I feel like I'm not doing them justice.
No, I want you to be able to smell it so bad, but this is the best we can do. I know it probably feels like you're trying to smell through a straw because it's like I'm sniffing so hard and it's just not much coming in. I totally get it.
I'm just getting like spicy, warm,
Yes.
rich. It smells great.
But it's
From
not
what
the
I can
full.
smell.
Yeah.
It smells good. It does have more of that kind of incense.
Okay.
I really like it.
Okay.
Again, from what I can tell,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
8.5. So this is definitely one of my favorites. This is Reckless Parfum, and we know that you really enjoy this one. It is quite spicy, warm, spicy, leathery, a little bit resinous. There's something kind of like deep, warm, sweet about it, but not in a vanilla type of way or anything. It's more like an ambery or resinous sweetness, but maybe mossy. There's a dryness to it. I think it's extremely authoritative and very elegant. It smells very commanding. Not a whole lot of like, hey, come give me a hug in this fragrance. This is very like, do you know who I am? That type of fragrance. Reckless. I love this stuff. 8.5 for what you can smell. Last one. Wow. It's quite a bit. You may not get it all, so maybe you're shielded from how punchy this can be.
Whoa.
Or maybe it reawakened everything.
Who knows? I'm getting like a very sharp, almost like herbal animalic.
Yes. Yes, indeed. That's what it is.
I wouldn't necessarily say it smells good, but it does smell very commanding.
Okay. I think a lot of people would agree with you.
It's sort of like, kind of makes the back of your throat like burn a little bit.
This one is definitely not made to be smelled up close like this. You got to give it some room to breathe. Otherwise, it will grab your face.
Let's give it a 7.
Okay. So you don't hate it. Maybe it's even a little interesting.
Yeah.
But not necessarily pleasant.
Points for creativity.
This is Fetish Parfum. Very challenging stuff. I can remember a time when I could not really smell this for more than like 30 seconds. I would spray it on my hand. I'd have to like wait like 5 minutes. Okay, let me try it again. It's still strong. Very leathery. Lots of castoreum, lots of leather. Dark, dry, animalic, edgy, commanding for sure. It does have this interesting top of like some lime and maybe some bergamot. There's even some fig in there, but it gets swallowed up pretty quickly by these darker, richer base notes that are not for the faint of heart. And definitely not for smelling up close, as I said. So if you do happen to like everything we've said about this and get a sample, do not spray it on your hand or on paper and then
Like I just
breathe it like oxygen. It's not gonna be a good time. Okay, you need to waft it to you, give it a chance to get in the air, smell it just in part, because you don't get all of a fragrance when you smell it in the air. You get all of it like this, but that's not always great. So that is Fetish. You gave it a 7. I think that's a fair rating for what your situation is right now. So that would put number 1 very unexpectedly as Manhattan EDP. And this is but at the same time, this is the only one on this list that you have actually worn.
This is also an 8.5.
Oh, that's right. And Reckless.
And honestly, because what we know of this one,
UAE.
it could have been higher, but
Yeah,
it's
UAE is
fun.
also wonderful. So yeah, these are our top 2. We had several 8s, so there would be a tie in 8s. And the lowest we had was a 6, I think. But everything else was sitting around 7, 7.5, 8, which is really good and definitely good for your nose literally falling off your face over the course of this video. So once again, guys, there will be links down in the description to try out all these fragrances. If you've tried them already, let us know what you think down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, like the video if you liked the video, and thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. See you in the next one.